it is the Iron Ogre. It's been a bit since I've uploaded, and it's because, like, my family was still a bit ill, even when they tested negative. Basically, if you watch the Q&A, I told you that I haven't been able to record videos as much because my entire family had COVID, except me for some reason, and they've all been isolating, so I never had a free house to record videos. So that's why I haven't been uploading that much, but hopefully I'll get to uploading way more than I was in the last month. So yeah, we're reviewing Captain America Civil War today. We're starting phase 3. It's about goddamn time. And there were 2 reasons why I wanted to rewatch this movie. The main reason was because, I wanted to review it because I've been reviewing shitty Marvel films for the past 2 years. And another reason is because, I want to see Spider-Man again. I want to see his MCU introduction now that his first trilogy has, come to a conclusion. And for the most part, I'd say this is a pretty solid introduction to this character in this universe. He seems way younger, and I don't want to say immature, but he's a lot more, like, positive about things. He's always happy. He makes movie references mid-fight and all that. And yeah, I think it was just really nice to see Spider-Man introduced in this film so young and so inexperienced, because, like, then we get to see him grow throughout the films, and seeing him again in this film when I've seen Spider-Man No Way Home, it was really nice. So I really did enjoy the character Spider-Man in the film, even if he didn't have that much screen time, really. But there is one negative I have about the introduction of Spider-Man in Civil War, and that's how Tony Stark basically blackmailed him into joining a conflict that had nothing to do with him. Think about it. Some 50-year-old rich man blackmails a 14-year-old boy to fight a bunch of dangerous people, even though the whole conflict going on has absolutely nothing to do with him. I thought that was a bit weird. I didn't really care for it the first time I watched it because I was like 9 the first time I watched the film. Yes, I'm a very young person. But, rewatching the film, I thought it was kind of weird. But yeah, that's one of my biggest negatives of the film. But, I still love his introduction apart from that. Another MCU hero that was introduced in this film was a Black Panther, played by Chadwick Boseman, who's now dead. Like Spider-Man's introduction, where they did some questionable thing with how they, got him involved with the whole conflict itself, Black Panther, his introduction in this film is actually perfection. I'm not even joking. His arc is so good. I'd say his arc in this film is better than his arc in his own solo film, which, is really saying something. He was definitely one of the standouts of the film. He was probably, one of the best characters in here. Chadwick Boseman did an amazing job of playing him. Rest in peace. His suit was cool. It was perfection. Like, I don't know how you can get a better suit than what we got in this film. I'd say the design for this suit is better than any of the other Black Panther suits we've got in the MCU, even if, the abilities aren't as fancy. But yeah, overall, I loved Black Panther in this film. His arc was great, and that little moment he had with Zemo, it was so powerful. It's not really something you see that often from the MCU. I'm not saying the MCU doesn't have powerful moments, but moments like that, with the hero and villain talking about loss, and the hero's character arc being complete, with him no longer letting vengeance consume him, and then our villain over here goes ahead and tries to off himself, which is honestly not something you see from Marvel very often, and that's a positive.
I'm done letting it consume me. Justice will come soon enough.
Tell that to the dead.
The living are not done with you yet.
And also, speaking of the villain of the film, I think he's actually quite an underrated MCU villain. He got a lot more recognition when he showed up in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He got the love he deserved when that show came out. But honestly, he should have had love when this film first came out. I like him more in this than I like him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And he was still good in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show as well. We got his purple mask in that show, so That was pretty great. But yeah, I do love him as a villain. He's not a physical threat, but he is like one of the smartest MCU villains. And he's like one of the few villains to actually win. I mean, he did technically win. So yeah, he's just a different sort of MCU villain. And yeah, I do really like him, and it also helps that I do like Daniel Bruhl as an actor. The only negative I have for this character is his plan to get Captain America and Iron Man to fight each other. Like, he was just in this place and he was expecting Captain America and Iron Man to come at the exact same time so that they can both see the video of Iron Man's parents dying and they can both fight. Doesn't really make sense, because there was no way he could have known that Iron Man was going to get there and meet up with Captain America. He couldn't have known that, because as far as he knew, they were having current conflicts, and like, yeah, why would they be like teaming up? It just doesn't make sense how he knows Iron Man and Captain America would eventually go to this location together. Well, we didn't go there together, but like, you know, Captain America arrived and Iron Man met him there. Yeah, Zemo couldn't have known that, is what I'm saying. So his plan didn't really make sense. There was sort of a plot hole there. But apart from that, I do like him as a villain. I basically like all the characters in this film, really. I like that there's no clear right or wrong side here when it comes to the whole Civil War itself, since both sides make very valid points about what they should do as a response to the Sokovia Accords. And it definitely does make the whole conflict between the Avengers very interesting. Oh, and speaking of the Avengers, there is a lot of them, and I think the Russo brothers do a brilliant job at balancing all of these different heroes in this one film. Like, it's actually quite impressive. There's no character here who feels like really bland or underutilized, so yeah, I think the Russo brothers did a great job of this. The only character in this film that I kind of dislike is Sharon Carter. There's a bit of romance in the film between her and Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, and I just don't like it. The main reason for that is because Steve Rogers shagged her great aunt back in the 1940s. So for him to kiss Sharon Carter in this film, it's just a little bit weird. I mean, Sharon Carter was also in The Winter Soldier, the previous Captain America film, and there wasn't really any romance between them there. So personally, I don't really know why the writers felt the need to give these two characters a little bit of a romantic relationship. It never really goes anywhere. I mean, the next time we see Sharon Carter in the MCU after this kiss, Steve Rogers had already gone back in time to go shag her great aunt again. So I don't really know what the writers were thinking when they decided to have these two characters kiss in this film, but yeah, I just don't see the point. This scene just should not have been in the movie, in my opinion. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the action in this film, because, you know, it's a comic book film. Like 90% of comic book films have action in them, and this is a part of the 90%. And the action in this film, oh my god. Captain America Civil War has like top MCU action sequences, and it's not a surprise. The Captain America films are quite well known for having great action, and you know, yeah, this is a Captain America film, so yeah, all of the action in this movie is memorable. There's not like that one fight scene that like was really shitty and you just forget it happened like as soon as it ends. Nah, every action sequence is great and memorable, which is really surprising because there were like two really big action sequences in this movie that, you know, people were really hyped for. You know, the airport fight scene and also the fight scene towards the end with Captain America and Bucky fighting Iron Man. Those were like the two really big action sequences in the film, and they were really good, but so were the other action sequences, and those two main ones managed to not just like completely overshadow everything else. Like, there are some really great scenes in this film which are really action-packed and very memorable, like when Bucky is escaping that prison. Even the fight that happens with the Avengers and Crossbones in like the first 10 minutes of the film is very memorable and great. I mean, it's kind of impressive how they managed to consistently give great action scenes in this film, despite the fact that there were like two main big action sequences that were like the most impactful ones in the entire movie. So in conclusion, I do really like Captain America Civil War, despite some of its flaws. It's one of the more mature Marvel Cinematic Universe films, and it is a lot more impactful than a lot of other films in the franchise, which just makes it stand out among a lot of the other MCU movies / Disney Plus shows. Anyway, now that I've said all that, I'm gonna give Captain America Civil War 4 stars. Yes, I'm ditching my other rating system with the letters and the pluses and the minus. It was just too complicated. Out of 5 stars, I'm giving it a 4. Thanks for watching. Doctor Strange review is next. I'm going to release that review on the day Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness releases. Big brain move. Yeah. Anyway, if you like my reviews, then you can go ahead and follow me on Letterboxd. A link to my profile will be in the description below. I recently reviewed Reservoir Dogs, so yeah, if you're interested, then you can go follow me on there. Anyway, have a lovely day. Goodbye.